It's the CalebDMTG Show.
All right. For people that have not seen one of my set reviews before, I generally talk about cards in regards to limited, because most cards are only interesting in limited, right? And then when a card is interesting for constructed, be it standard or legacy or modern or what have you, if I see a spot where it might be playable, then I'll discuss it in that context. Whether it's worth trying out or whether I think it'll just be a bomb, that sort of deal. And I go in white, blue, black, red, green order, and then do colorless and gold cards at the very end. Lands and all that, with breaks in between, so I can rest my voice. There's a lot of talking. It's a dry season too, middle of the winter here. Oh shit, what up? Oh shit, what up? Hey Kyle Mac, thanks for 26 months. Yeah, happy set review, huh? Well, let's just dive in. Against all odds, 3 and white sorcery. Choose one or both. Exile target artifact or creature you control, then return to the battlefield under its owner's control. And then the second option, return target artifact or creature with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Yeah, so it's a blink, right? But it's a sorcery speed one, unlike momentary blink, so you don't get to do like the block blink thing. Also, it does say return to owner's control, which most blink effects do. I think if you're gonna have it cost 4 mana though, you might as well let yourself keep it. It's not like pairing this with a threaten effect would ruin the limited format or whatever, right? But yeah, there's some nice value here. It's all about whether or not you have basically things that are worth blinking, especially things that cost 3 or less. Because if you can get both on this, bring like a Blade Splicer effect back from your graveyard, or a Phyrexian Rager type card, while also getting some in-play value, could be strong. And the slower the format is, the more you have options for this sort of thing. This is the sort of card that, without playing the format at all, I'd be very hesitant to take too early. But then once you figure out format out, you find like its exact spot where you want it. Annex Sentry, 2 and a white, artifact creature Phyrexian Cleric. Toxic 1. Players dealt combat damage by this creature also get a poison counter. Nice. So with a 1-power creature, it's pretty similar to Infect. I guess it's worse in combat than Infect, because it's not giving creatures -1/-1 counters. But you are dealing both, right? You are dealing 1 damage to the opponent and a poison. Anyway, when it enters the battlefield, exile target artifact or creature an opponent controls with mana value 3 or less until Annex Sentry leaves the battlefield. Oh, neat. Neat little card here. Potentially something to get back with this against all odds, huh? How early would I pick an Annex Sentry? A lot of times, effects like this end up being constructed playable. I don't think this one will be. Horn Turtle stats, generally pretty good in limited, and not what you want to be doing in your mono white constructed deck, right? Yeah, good evening, Simone. Yeah, so I think you can take Annex Sentry relatively early. It's not a bomb, though, right? You're not taking it over. This one, I'm not actually sure if I'm taking it over quality removal. I guess it is removal. I guess it is value. But I mean, you're not taking it over like a rare bomb or something, right? A little more situational than a regular removal spell, but the body is good. I've heard people say that they thought the format looks aggressive too. I haven't seen the whole spoiler. I'm going in a little dry here. In which case the 1/4 stats might be really good. So yeah, not an embarrassing card to grab early, but also not a must pick. A possible invasion. 4 white for a 4/4 flying. Phyrexian Angel. Flying corrupted. As long as the opponent has 3 or more poison counters. A possible invasion has double strike. Cool. Yeah, so a lot of these cards that say, as long as an opponent has 3 or more poison counters on them, a lot of those cards are coming in on earlier things. And it's just like kind of helping them scale well into the late game. But for most of the time, they're not going to be turned on. This one, by costing 6 mana, seems like you're going to have double strike a reasonable amount of the time. As long as your deck is designed with that, right? As long as you're playing enough toxic stuff. Six mana is a lot, but I mean, the fail rate of being a 6 mana 4/4 flyer is still generally pretty solid and limited. I think you can take this thing pretty early on, build around it. Obviously, not a constructed card, right? Basilica Shepherd. 3 white. Phyrexian Angel. Hey Zeb, thanks to the Sob, thanks to 42. Shepherd, 3/3 flyer. When Shepherd enters the battlefield, create 2 1/1 colorless Phyrexian Might artifact creature tokens with Toxic 1, and this creature can't block. I like that these Mights can't block. It's going to make the limited format a lot less grindy. You can still get value. You can still get value on your cards. It does make the format a lot less grindy, It also incentivizes you to, like, throw a bunch of Mights away just to get Toxic on the opponent, which then helps turn on your stuff, right? Cards like a possible invasion. You don't mind that you're losing. You're attacking with like 5 Mights and losing 2 of them. It doesn't matter, because you're getting enough infect to turn on your other stuff, and the Mights aren't blocking anyway. I think it's going to lead to some really satisfying gameplay. Anyway, this card's good. I could see limited formats where first picking a card like this wouldn't be embarrassing. I think cards have gotten better to the point where it's not going to be a pack one, pick one, windmill slam or anything like that, but it'll be interesting to see how many you can put into a deck. Basilica Shepherd. Whether the card is like just fine or something that you just want as many of as possible. We'll see. Bladed Ambassador, 1 white, 3/1, creature Phyrexian Soldier. And there's a battlefield with an oil counter on it. Yeah, oil them up. It really is better with the oil. 1, remove an oil counter from Bladed Ambassador. Gains indestructible until end of turn. Okay. Okay, so less obnoxious than other versions of this effect that we've seen, where they can just like discard a card or pay for life or what have you. Just like a basically unkillable thing. This way, it's unkillable once, and then it can be killed after that. A little more pleasant. A little more pleasant. Still fine. Still better than a vanilla 2-mana 3/1, right? Next one's got some teeth. Next one's got some hella teeth, yeah. It's missing a bottom row, but that top row, whew. Alright, Charge of the Mights, 2 white, instant. Choose 1. Charge of the Mights deals damage equal to the number of creatures you control to target creature or planeswalker. Or create 2 1 Might artifact creature tokens with Toxic 1, and this creature can't block. Yeah, this card's good, right? So the making 2 1/1s would normally be like a fine mode on a card. It's a little bit worse here, right? With this creature can't block. Certainly a little bit worse. You can't like attack in a race and then use Charge of the Mights to like instant speed block or what have you. But having a mode where it's just an actual removal spell, not terrible for limited. I think this card is going to be largely filler. Pretty straightforward, huh? I'll see some playing, surf some rolls, win some games. Not an early pickup by any means. Hey, use thy best. Thanks to the sod, thanks to 28 months there. Did you tune in just in time? You did! You only missed 6 cards. And they weren't that good anyway, so. This can't block shit's pissing you off, yeah? Would you say that you get pissed off pretty easy? Oh, magic card not blocking. Complete Devotion, 1 and a white instant. Target creature you control gets +2/+2 until end of turn. If that creature has Toxic, draw a card. Ooh, I'm on board with this. I'm usually not huge on pump spells. I like them in go wide style aggro decks to help you like punch through. And this card fits really well in that sort of strategy. It's like one of the few strategies that I like it in. But then it has the toxic draw card aspect. And like I was talking earlier about how you're gonna be serving with these like very expendable mites in like a mass to try on corrupted a lot of the time. And this card just plays really well there. Your opponent thinks that you're just attacking to get some toxic in, and because you can't block with your 1/1s anyway. And then all of a sudden you complete Devotion, get to eat their like quality creature and draw a card. It's great. Does it increase the toxic amount? No. But I mean, that's not really what I was getting at. Yeah, if you want to increase your poison for lethal or whatever, then you want to do the proliferate stuff, right? I think there's some of that in this set. Let's move on to the next card. Look at this fucking art, huh? That's some great art. I like how flat the triangle is, and then those like very three-dimensional heads, those arms coming off, very dynamic. Terrifying. Those vacant eyes. Crawling Chorus, 1 white for a creature Phyrexian Horror, 1 white, toxic 1. When it dies, create a 1/1 colorless Might artifact creature. Toxic 1 and can't block. Sweet. Have we gotten... Doom Traveler was like the first one of these, right? And we just haven't gotten one that's better than Doom Traveler since. The 1/1 Might is like obviously worse than a 1/1 flyer, a flying spirit token. But the base creature here is better, right? Because it's got toxic. Kind of cool. Grim Initiate did see some play. Grim Initiate was also a little bit better than Doom Traveler's face right at head first strike. Love that, Cody. Love that. The chorus isn't from the faces, it's just from the chalkboard screeching of the triangle dragging across the ground. Yeah. Well, that sounds awful. Duelist of Deep Faith, 1 white for a 2/2. Creature Phyrexian Soldier, toxic 1. As long as it's your turn, Duelist of Deep Faith has first strike. Sweet. Yeah, nice attacking ability. First strike, huh? Make it hard for your opponent to block. Get those toxic poison counters onto your opponent. Yeah, real quality 2-drop. Imagine you can play a solid number of these. You're just like happy about it. Not gonna be a super early pick, but you still probably want to draft him aggressively for white aggro. And it's looking like white's pretty aggressive so far. I didn't mention this, but cards like Crawling Chorus do show up in Constructed sometimes. Cheap little effective aggro creatures. Sometimes it almost doesn't matter what they say on them. If it's a 1 white creature, might show up in some terrible deck. Alishnorn, Mother of Machines. Oh, mommy. Yeah, this card's had a lot of discussion about it, huh? 4 and a white. Legendary creature, Phyrexian Praetor. Vigilant. 4/7. There's some thick stats. If a permanent enters the battlefield, it causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control. It triggers an additional time. Permanents entering the battlefield don't cause abilities to permanents your opponents control to trigger. Yeah, so your 187 stuff happens twice, your opponent's doesn't at all. Pretty sick. Basically a couple of high value abilities stapled together. It doesn't have value stapled to itself, but sometimes that doesn't matter. Yorick saw a decent amount of play, right? Part of that was because it was elemental. You think the 1 white pip is strange to you? Yeah, people have discussed it on that axis. There's a lot of just, oh man, what was the comment? Some EDH player was like whining about EDH cards coming through standard or whatever, ruining their format, which I thought was hilarious. Or they thought it was like designed for standard play and was thus going to destroy EDH, and how Wizards wasn't keeping EDH in mind or something. Which, as a constructed player, watching Wizards' design of new cards over the past like however many years since EDH took over, it was a little ironic, kind of an ironic take to see someone have. Especially because this card seems like very much designed with EDH in mind, right? Like, kind of obviously so. Feels like satire. It does feel like satire, but I think that was like a large EDH person. Like, wasn't it like Sheldon or something? Wrote a whole ass article about it. Anyway. Anyway. Yeah, just throwing a fit. Oh, man. Will this see constructed play? I mean, I mentioned Yorick. This card's better than that. Definitely not Legacy, right? It's a legend, so it gets bounced by Caracas, even if you could power it out and wanted to. Doubles your Solitudes. Doubles your Furies. I could maybe see playing one of this in Omnath. In Modern. To Illidomri's Call Up or something. Get a double Fury. Yeah, man. Dodges almost all the removal in Modern. Oh yeah, because it turns off Solitude. Ooh, that's kind of fierce. That's kind of sexy, actually. Double triggers landfall. Yeah, what landfall cards are you thinking about, though? Yeah, I don't know what standard looks like. But this is starting to seem worth testing in Modern. Unlikely to become a Modern staple, but worth testing for sure. Doubles ley lines, doesn't die to ley line, yeah. And you probably want to play ley lines in your Omnath deck. Double heat, oh my god. Heat doesn't even kill it. You need heat plus another burn spell. Saga's double. Yeah, that could matter. Just seems kind of nutty in Omnath. Yeah, the more I think about it in Omnath, the more I kind of like it. She do have that booty. As a 5-drop, it's hard to justify a lot of her, obviously. But can always pitch to Solitude, right? The Eternal Wanderer, 4 white. Legendary Planeswalker. Comes into play with 5 loyalty. So flavor-wise, is this supposed to be a Planeswalker we've seen before? Or is this, like, brand new? We had a Wanderer thing once, right? That prevented damage to you or something. But I think it had a mask. Oh, this is the Wandering Emperor? Same Wanderer, gotcha. Just checking. We've had 2 different Wanderers. This is the Wanderer and the Wandering Emperor, both of them. Cool. Legendary Planeswalker. No more than 1 creature can attack the Eternal Wanderer each combat. Okay, so it's like a defensive static ability. That's going to be, like, infuriating when it's relevant, right? You're sitting there with your army of piddlers. +1. I think it'll be relevant a lot, too. Exile up to 1 target artifact or creature, return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of that player's next end step. Okay, cool. So the fact that you can hit your opponent's stuff is kind of nice, because it means you can blink out their tokens. The +1 can actually be a removal spell. And then, of course, you're blinking your own stuff for value. The 0 is you get a 2/2 with double strike. Is this a, This isn't a, one of those fun box set things that you can't actually get in limited, is it? I think because I set it to, set numbers, like I just like straight up don't see them. I think that's why I have it sorted by set numbers. It almost reads like one of those, right? By costing 6 mana, by being a regular rare. Anyway, it's 0s to make 2/2 double strikers. If it's just 0 to make it 2/2, that'd be like kind of unimpressive. But the fact that it's got double strike is kind of nice. You're gonna trade with your opponent's 4/4s. Gonna attack really well. Right, Roro, yeah, that's what I was thinking. Those Planeswalkers were always like 6 mana, just to like help ensure that they wouldn't see standard play. -4 for each player, choose a creature that player controls. Each player sacrifices all creatures they control not chosen this way. Wait, hold on. It just does that? When it comes down. 6 mana comes down. So you're sitting there, so so on turn 5 you play a creature. Any old creature at all. And then turn 6 you play this and -4 it. And then you get a creature, and then you choose your opponent's shittiest creature. And he nukes the rest. Just a bad Wrath? The -4? Yeah, but it's just a bad Wrath stapled to a Planeswalker. You know. It makes it a little bit better. What's the last time we've had a really easily accessible Wrath on a Walker? I mean, Nugen's fucking nuts, because that's a great Wrath. I'm thinking, like, Elspeth. The Elspeth that spat out tokens. You could, like, uptick it for a turn, and then play it, and then downtick to have a sweeper. That even took 2 turns, and, like, the sweeper came up a decent amount. Elspeth 6. Yeah, that one was pretty sweet. Also very situational, right? Only hitting creatures with power 4 or more. Yeah, right, Bremner, exactly. It's a bad Wrath stapled to a creature that also has ways of protecting itself, and also does other things if the Wrath's not relevant, or post-Wrath. Floods the board. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, Josh. It seems pretty good. This being a regular rare, I expect to be very frustrating in limited. This is going to ruin many a sealed game. And then roughly half as many draft games. You like it a lot? Yeah. Yeah, I like it now. I'll like it when it's in my deck. The only thing keeping it back in Constructed is that it costs 6, right? We have been comparing it to Elspeth a lot. Elspeth being able to just like flood the board with the uptick was kind of insane. This one not upticking to make tokens, the fact that it has to 0 to make tokens, makes it a bit worse than Elspeth. Elspeth saw a lot of play, I think.
Oh shit, what up?
This one might see a little play in Standard. Right, it could see play in Constructed. Hard to bet on it. Hard to bet the house on this one. Hey, Bringer Phubis, thanks for the 25 months there. A control deck? Yeah. Or a deck that can get value off the blink. Yeah, but it's the uptick aspect, Eric. Like, if your opponent had, when you played Elspeth, if your opponent had less than 3 creatures, you just, like, couldn't beat the uptick. This card doesn't have anything like that, really. Maybe it's passive is sort of like that. Maybe its passive is sort of like that already. But you're not upticking to make the 2/2s. The 2/2s just kind of have to be their own inevitability. Maybe they are. The fact that they've got double strike. Maybe they don't need the Elspeth jump. They can just tap sideways at a certain point. Anyway, yeah, sweet card. Flinting Raptor, 2 and a white creature, Phyrexian bird, flying toxic 1. Enters the battlefield, another target creature you control with toxic gets +1/+1 against flying until it returns. 2/2. Yeah, this is a sweet one. If you're trying to kill people with poison counters in limited, this is going to be kind of an important card, huh? Not just by having evasion itself, but also helping your 1 or 2 drop with toxic connect the turn it comes down. It does feel like toxic and white limited is going to be strong. Very early on in the set here. Gold Warden's Helm, 2 and a white artifact equipment. For Mirrodin! When this equipment enters the battlefield, you get a 2/2 red rebel creature token attached to it. Equipped creature gets +0/+1, and you can equip for 1 and a white. So there's a 3 mana for a 2/3, and then when it dies, you can equip and give something 1 toughness. Usually that sort of ability, the 0/1 stuff, is better than it looks. When is this value? When is this staple to some random value equipment? Ends up being a little bit better. It looks fuck-ass terrible, but but it'll probably play slightly better. One cool thing about this for Mirrodin ability is that white has blink effects going on, right? So you trade off the 2/2 when you blink this with some other thing, and you get the 2/2 body back. Not the worst. Hex Gold Hover Rings, 3 and a white artifact equipment for Mirrodin. Again, get a 2/2. Equipped creature has Flyeting. Did I say Flyeting? Flying. The creature has flying, folks. Creatures you control that are equipped get +1/+0. Equipped for 2 and a white. Oh, this one's hot. So it's a 3/2 flyer. And then you can re-equip to jump something. That seems like a quality card. For Flyriden, yeah. Limited staple. Yeah, I mean, it does cost 4. Hard to call anything too bomby at that, but it is value. It does have value caked into it, huh? Again, being able to trade off the body and then equip something else, or blink this. The Anthem is passive, so that part still works if it's unequipped, sure. But when you equip, the creature that you equip is gonna get the double buff, right? Gonna get the flying buff and the +1/+0. Yeah, I think you're right. I think I might have been undervaluing the passive. Just playing this with a bunch of other Mirrodin stuff. Basically just antheming them. Half antheming. It probably is a first pickable card, build around. On top of just being solid. The fact that it's so good means that it's going to be hard to actually get it in your equipment decks. Because other folks are going to scoop it up. Because like, oh, sweet. The sweet flyer. Value flyer. In. You're trying to do the equipment build around. You're just sad. Anyway. Incisor Glider is an uncommon, so it'll show up a decent amount. Incisor Glider, 1 in a white, 1/3. Artifact creature Phyrexian construct. Flying, corrupted. When Glider attacks, if an opponent has 3 or more poison counters, creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. So 2 in it for a 1/3 flyer is already kind of a reasonable body. And then the corrupted here is just helping it scale. Scale into the mid to late game. Boost your team up a bit. How does it eat? How do you know it eats? It doesn't need to. Maybe it gains its power from the sun. Talk about the art? What do you want me to say? The colored globules in the back kind of remind me of some Gionkel art. Zenato. But yeah, no, it just looks like a Phyrexian version of a Thopter, right? You think it's weird to care about poison when it doesn't have anything poison, like it doesn't have toxic itself? Yeah, but I mean, if they have it be toxic, it would have to cost like 3, right? And then it wouldn't cost too much for the set. It's like balanced towards that too. And all the Phyrexian constructs, you know, they've all got that Borg computer mind, you know, they're all working together. Different machines, complementary parts. They don't all have to have toxic. Indoctrination Attendant, 3 in a white. I kind of like this art. Creature, Phyrexian Cleric. Toxic 1. When there's the battlefield, you may return another target permanent you control to its owner's hand. If you do, you get a Might. With Toxic 1, and this creature can't block. 3/4. This card kind of rules, huh? 4 mana for a 3/4 body with Toxic 1. Already, like, pretty reasonable stats. And then the other ability, in limited, returning another permanent you control. Like, that could be a whole lot of things, right? The most obvious is you are bouncing something that gives value, like one of these. For Mirrodin equipments or whatever. But it just being a permanent means that you can bounce a land. So 4 is like potentially nearing the top of your curve anyway. Bouncing a land might be totally fine. And the best case scenario for this bounce effect is when your opponent has a pacifism effect on one of your cards. And so then you get to bounce that and completely kill their pacifism effect and get your card back. What I'm saying is this card fucks. I don't know if it's like a first pickable uncommon, or common rather. Probably not. But I think you can play a few of these in your deck. Be happy about it. I think you can take it relatively early if you're trying to cut white. If you have 2, you can keep making mites. Yeah. Unlikely to want to do that. Maybe if you want to keep on giving them Vigilant while spitting out mites. Pretty much every set has some Monkey Elf. But no, I don't know how many are in here either. 4 is costly for a mite. It is. For just a mite, 4 would be costly. Fortunately, that's not all we're getting. Sometimes in Limited, you end up with those board stalls. Or just like having 2 of these. 8 mana, make a couple mites every turn, could be okay. It's kind of a niche scenario though, huh? Infested Flesh Cutter. 1 in a white artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +2 so. Whenever equipped creature attacks, create a 1/1 colorless mite. With Toxic 1 and this creature can't block. Equip 2 in a white. So this is a good card, a good ability. Powerful ability. It is clunky though. It is not an efficient card. I would not play a lot of these in my deck. I would play perhaps 1 of this card in my deck. I do like that it replaces itself though. Might be hard for some decks to deal with. Just throwing this on mites and serving. It is kind of its own engine, yeah. Again though, 2 to play, 3 to equip. It's a lot. It's a tall order. Jawbone Duelist. 1 in a white for 1/1 double strike. Toxic 1. Nice. Yeah, so I like the 2 mana 1/1 double strike thing that they've been doing in Limited for however many years. How many versions of this card we've had. And then recently they've started stapling relevant set mechanics on. And this is a sweet one. Because it's going to kill pretty quickly by its lonesome. It's going to turn on your corrupted stuff pretty quickly. And then it also just works well with cards like Flesh Cutter, or the +2/+2 draw card, Completed Devotion thing. Yeah, imagine if that was just Infect, huh? Instead of Toxic 1. Kemba, Caw Enduring. 1 in white for a 2/2. Legendary creature, Cat Cleric. Whenever Kemba or another cat enters the battlefield under your control, attach up to 1 target equipment you control to that creature. Equipped creatures you control get +1/+1. Oh, actual Anthem. Instead of the half Anthem on the uncommon earlier. And then 5 mana gets you a cat token. So the 5 mana making a cat token at instant speed is kind of sweet, because your opponent can attack and you can like move equipment onto it in instant speed when you generate. Even if the equipment's only like a +1/+1 thing, it means you're gonna be spitting out like a 4/4. Free equip easy, yeah. So this one's probably not gonna see play in Pioneer or Modern or anything. It's not a Hammer Time card. Partially because it's legendary, but mostly because it only cares about cats. So it's really good at equipping itself. Not very good at equipping other things. Usually you want to be helpful for equipping other things. Limited, yeah, Limited, obviously a great card. And you can play this card even if you don't have that many equipment, right? Because 2 mana for a 2/2 that spits out cat tokens is already great. It's already a great rate for a 2-drop. But then if you have the equipment, or if you get it early in draft, you get a nice build around, a nice direction to go. Love cards like that, especially when I'm just learning a format and you see a card like that and you're like, oh, well, I guess I'm taking the equipments. Pack 1, pick 1, easy mode. Bam, 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 bam. Yeah, sweet stuff. The one time I ever went undefeated on day 1 of a limited GP, I had the 1 white Kemba in my deck with a Pure Steel Paladin. And I didn't even play all of my equipment. I played like 13 of 14 or something like that. It was just a very odd sealed pool. Alright, Lean In Lightbringer. 2 and a white, 3/2. Creature Cat Rebel. Ward 2, as long as Lean In Lightbringer is equipped, it gets +1/+1. Yeah, this card seems like filler, right? The Ward 2, like, sort of protects it, sort of doesn't, because this card's gonna trade pretty easily. Just by nature of being a 3-mana 3/2. Mainable Justicar. Justiciar. 1 and a white, 2/1. Artifact creature, Phyrexian Cleric. Lifelink. Whenever another artifact enters the battlefield under your control, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn. That's sweet. So I'm reminded of that black vampire that showed up in core sets for forever. I didn't know what I'm talking about. It was like 1 in a black for a 2/1 lifelink. It was never like great or anything, but it made racing hard sometimes. Yeah, that child. The child of the night. This is kind of like a cracked out version of that. Because attacking is a 3/2. Attacking is a 3/2 lifelinker. A little different, right? A little different. And then there's some cards in this set that spit out multiple might tokens all by their lonesomes. And now you've got a 4/3. Starting to sound kind of fierce, huh? Starting to sound real fierce. This might be the sort of card that's just like... This is like kind of ballsy to say without drafting the format at all, but this might be the sort of card that's like kind of archetype defining. That you take as early and as often as possible and just run people the fuck over with it. We'll see though. I wonder if lifelink matters less because of toxicity. I think lifelink's still gonna be great. It's still gonna be a great limited mechanic. Because people aren't killing you with just poison counters, right? They're killing them with damage at the same time. Any flash or instant speed ways to put artifacts in play? Yeah, we saw one earlier. A 3-mana thing that puts 2 mites into play. You don't think there's enough artifacts? I think like half the fucking cards we've looked at have put mites into play, friend. Anyway. A lot of common too. A lot of them very good at common. When I first saw this art, I thought that like this little bug thing was like suckling on the teeth. And I was like, yeah, I guess that makes sense as a cleric, but it's probably like slamming down on it, right? Like it's probably eating the bug thing. I don't know. I'm not really sure what's going on. But it's sweet. It's sweet whatever's happening. Whatever is happening, I'm into it. Let's say that. Mirren Bardiche, 4 and a white artifact equipment from Mirrodin! Comes into play, makes a 2/2 red rebel, attaches to it. Gets +2/+0 and has vigilance, equipped 3 and a white. Jesus fucking Christ. I was saying the uncommon one was clunky. This is Clunk City. So I guess it's 5 mana for a 4/3, and then 4 to re-equip. Yeah, I feel like this card's gotta be filler, right? The more expensive your Mirrodin stuff is, the less actual useful the value is, I think. Not that it's bad or irrelevant or anything. It's just like less likely to matter, right? Hard to argue with that. 3 toughness is a little sus. Yeah, I think the idea is you play this and you trade it off and then you equip to something else. Mondrak, Glory Dominus. 2 white for a 4/4 legendary creature, Phyrexian Horror. Mythic. If one or more tokens would be created under your control, twice that many of those tokens are created instead. Well, that's like quite a good ability in this format. This limited format. 1 Phyrexian, sacrifice 2 other artifacts and or creatures. Put an indestructible counter on Mondrak, Glory Dominus. And so the idea is that you're going to have extra artifacts lying around because you're playing this in your Might Creation deck. Let's have a bunch of those little 1/1 things lying around. And you can sack creatures, you can sack your shitters. Indestructible counters are fucked up. It feels like not unbeatable though. Like this card feels like really good, but if your opponent has 2 removal spells, they still get to answer it. Assuming one of them is instant speed, or one of them's an exile effect or something. I guess that would only take 1, but you get the idea. Yeah, obviously a limited bomb. You can pack 1, pick 1 it. Is this card interesting for constructed? Do any of y'all play a lot of standard? Is there a standard home for this? The counter does stay? Yeah, no, I get it. So I was talking about instant speed, huh? It's interesting for Commander. Okay. Wedding announcement standard. Works with all the Familiar cards. Yeah, that's more of a limited thing though, huh? Anyway, probably just gonna be a limited bomb. Kind of nice that it's a mythic then, huh? Not gonna destroy everything. The card's gonna be expensive just for EDH stuff. I could see that. Well, get wrecked, EDH players. Fucking nerds. Alright, Norn's Wellspring. 1 white artifact. Whenever a creature you control dies, scry 1 and put an oil counter on Norn's Wellspring. 1 tap, remove 2 oil counters, draw a card. Interesting. Interesting. I'm glad that it's just a creature, not a non-token creature. If this said non-token, it would be like extremely unexciting. How about that art, Tom? I just realized that the black oil is coming from the eyes. That makes it way cooler. The art does a good job of like bringing your eye to the figure. And then you look up, oh my. Yeah, not once a turn, not non-token. Suppose you draft this, huh? You do have to put mana into it to draw your cards. I feel like you want this in like an aggressive Might Creation deck. And then when your Mights die attacking, you like turn that and convert that into value. And the scrying, you know, preventing him from flooding out. That's sweet, it's a good card. You can first pick it and build around it. Obviously, the less creatures you have, the worse this gets. And a lot of times your high creature decks don't actually want a value card. They want like a pump spell or a removal spell to help you get in and close out the game. This might be an exception though if you're doing engine-based things, if you're doing token production things. And this could help you keep things rolling. Something controlling with proliferate? Yeah. The issue with control decks is they just don't have that many creatures, right? Makes it harder, even if you are doing proliferate stuff. I don't think this card's gonna see constructed play. I think you're asking too much. With the mana to activate and stuff. If it was free, if it was just tap, then it starts to become interesting. But yeah, certainly a bomb in a certain style of limited deck. Which I think most white decks in this format are going to be. We've seen a lot of creatures so far. Orthodoxy, Enforcer, 3 and a white. Phyrexian Cleric, Vigilance. Gets 2+0 as long as you control 2 or more artifacts. 2/4. Yeah, it's fine, right? 4 mana for a fucking 4/4 Vigilance. Could be frustrating to face. Ossification. 1 and a white, Enchantment. Enchant basic land you control. Enters the battlefield, exile target creature or planeswalker opponent controls until Ossification leaves. Yeah, this card's great. First pickable in draft. Quality removal. Gotta imagine it's gonna see some standard play. Will this see Pioneer play? Like Chain of the Rocks? Yeah. That's what I was thinking. Chain of the Rocks sees a little bit of play in like enchantment style decks, right? You think this is way better than Chain of the Rocks? Well, 2 mana versus 1 mana is pretty real. And it has to enchant a basic. Chain of the Rocks goes on dual land sometimes, Why do you want to enchant attached to your land? Because you want to exile their things. Correct, Chain doesn't hit walkers. Are we talking? But are we discussing like Pioneer or standard or limited with that caveat, Obliterator over Vindicator. Yeah. Basic land makes it safer to cast. I mean, sort of. You could always put Chain of the Rocks on a basic if you wanted to, right? You would generally prefer to have the option and put it on a non-basic. I think the fact that it says basic land, like, hurts it for constructed and has no impact on limited. So it's just, like, very specifically there to nerf it for constructed. Kind of an unfortunate choice on their part, I think. But white has plenty of good removal spells lately, just like ass loads. Alright, Phyrexian Vindicator, 4 white for a 5/5 creature Phyrexian Horror, flying. If damage would be dealt to it, prevent that damage. When damage is prevented that way, deals that much damage to any other target. So this card's kind of fucked up. Quad white. Do you first pick this? I think I do. Try and live the mono white dream. You can play this in a 2-color deck, but you want to be really heavily weighted. You want to be playing like 11 planes or something in your mana base. It's white Obliterator? Sort of. It's not really. It's not really white Obliterator. Like, you attack with this, and then you, like, the other player blocks with the 1/1 flyer. You get to ping something. You know what I mean? A little different than making them sacrifice permanents. Or, like, if someone's got a bunch of 2/2s or mites or whatever, and they can attack into this a little easier. I guess mites is pretty similar to Obliterator. Mono white has no room for something like that in constructed. Okay. I wasn't thinking about it for constructed yet. The evasion is good. Yeah, I mean Obliterator has evasion too. They do seem like very similar cards. Give it lifelink? Maybe. I mean, the damage is to any other target, so it can't target itself. Fortunately. Cube card, Vindicator? I don't think so. Well, I mean, any card can be a cube card. You'd want to put this in like a mid-power cube. And even then, like... Yeah, you almost have to be like caring about devotion or something before you put this in your cube, I think. Because you're competing with like Gideon at 4 mana and stuff. It can target itself once? No, it says deals that much damage to any other target. It literally cannot target itself once. Is it infinite with Brash Taunter? I'm gonna look up Brash Taunter real quick. It seems like it would work, right? Oh, Brash Taunter says target opponent. Yeah, so Brash Taunter wouldn't. What about Stuffy Doll? Stuffy Doll's also player. Yeah, neither of those cards. Wording, yeah. Wording! Ruining my plans again. Yeah, so after some long thought and discussion, I've decided that I don't know. Let's move on to the next thing. It's fucking Mythic that people are gonna play and build terrible constructed and limited decks around. Will it win enough games to make up for it? Who knows? Who fucking knows? Probably. Planar Disruption, 1 and a white, Enchantment Aura. Enchant artifact, creature, or planeswalker. Enchanted permanent can't attack or block, and its activated abilities can't be activated. Hey, we got a pacifism effect. We were just talking about those earlier. Making the blink abilities a little bit better, huh? The best arrest ever printed. Yeah, by nature of costing 2. It also hits artifacts and planeswalkers, yeah. Sweet. Cool stuff. Power creep and limited. Yeah. I mean, they probably could have printed this instead of arrest a billion years ago. That would have been fine, but it's cool to have it now. This card is busted. I mean, it's a removal spell. It's hard for a 1-for-1 removal spell with no value attached to be quote-unquote busted, I think. If it's not seeing a modern and legacy play. If it's, you know what I mean? If it's not Swords to Plowshares. Maybe I'm biased. Okay, Satan, yeah. Putting it on artifact lands. Literal Leyline Binding? It's not. It's sorcery speed. The instant speed nature of Leyline Binding kind of matters, right? Is it better than the basic O-Ring from earlier? Basic O-Ring? What are you talking about? I don't know what you mean, friend. You talking about the 1/4? That uncommon? Ossification, right. By basic, you mean enchanting a basic. They seem pretty comparable, right? This one doesn't hit artifacts. So Ossification is better against blink effects. It's much better because it's just not going to get blown out by something like Indoctrination Attendant. And Planar Disruption will. You get absolutely destroyed by cards like that. So overall, I would give Ossification the nod. But they're both great cards. Plated Onslaught, 3 white. Affinity for artifacts. Nice. Creatures you control get +2/+1 until end of turn. Yeah, affinity for artifacts. Pretty much everyone's favorite mechanic. Glad they brought it back. You love affinities, do you? Oh, I will. I will. Give me them deets, Dagon Crow. Taking you to court. Affinity Court. Easy to make it white-white? Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of cards that make it 3 mana just, like, by themselves, right? Single-handedly. Made this a 3 mana card. Which is the going rate for a +2/+1 effect. And the fact that you can make it 2 mana is kind of sweet. And honestly, if you're casting this and winning the game, and that's the one thing that you need to do that turn, it doesn't really matter what it costs. Like this with a double strike creature? Yeah, it's fine there. I don't think that's true, Karas. It's still 3 poison counters. 3 mites plus 10, getting all +10/+10 is still 3 poison counters. Toxicity just gives 1. It's just gonna give 1 always. Not the same thing as Infect, not scaling with pump spells. Fortunately, huh? Porcelain Zealot, 3 and a white. Phyrexian Soldier, 2/3, uncommon. If any comment on your turn, target creature you control gets +1/+1 until end of turn. If that creature has Toxic, instead it gets +2/+2. Yeah, this card's better than it looks, almost like a very versatile equipment that also comes with a body attached. I guess you're not getting the buff on the opponent's turn, so more of an attacking card. But you do get the buff the first turn it comes into play. Resistance Reunited. 1 and a white, target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn, uncommon. Equipped creatures you control gain indestructible until end of turn. I guess. The common that draws a card has me a little bit more excited than this one. This one's fine. Slew Dancer, 1 white for a 1/1 creature Phyrexian Soldier, 3 and a white, tap target creature. Corrupted 1 white, tap target creature, activate only if an opponent has 3 or more poison counters. Interesting. Yeah, I mean you can play like one of these. If you're doing the poison thing, probably. I guess if they have 3 poison counters, then like multiple tappers would be good. Kind of depends on how good you are at getting them 3 or more poison counters. It's awkward that it's so hard to, it's so expensive for the initial tap, because that could really help them get to 3 poison counters. But I guess doing it on like turn 4, play this turn 1, turn 2 make it toxic, turn 3 make it toxic, turn 4 activate and let a toxic thing get in. Could just be like turned on by turn 5. Bringing up some board stalls. Hey Warren, thanks for 39 months. Someone said I was the best. Aw. Make me blush. It's a 1-drop? Yeah, I'm aware. You're curious how hard Corrupted is to get? Yeah, right? That's gonna change the evaluation for some of these things. Because 1 white to tap something is a great tapper, and you could play like a shitload of them in your deck and be happy. But 4 white to tap, you could get away with playing like 1 as filler, and you're like really not happy with the second copy. Kind of interesting. Alright, Squirrel of Defector Might. This is the Mother of Runes, right? 1 white for legendary artifact creature, Phyrexian Might. Toxic 1, can't block. And then the Phyrexian tab, choose a color, another target creature you control gains Toxic 1 and Hexproof from that color until end of turn. It can't be blocked by creatures of that color this turn. Yeah, we got a new Mother of Runes. I like that it's legendary. I like that it can't target itself.
Oh shit, what up?
And I like that it's doing some set-related stuff. Things that stand out a little bit. It's not like just worse Mother of Runes. It also has Toxic. Hey, Jalek thinks the sub thinks I'm 26 months there. Doesn't unattach auras. Yeah, that's good, right? Is it better than Stepmom? Giver Runes? No, it's worse than Giver Runes. For a few different reasons, right? Like, two givers can protect each other. You're never gonna have two of this in play, thanks to it being legendary. Oh man, we just got to the pop section of the playlist. Is this constructed playable? It is. Which constructed format? Who knows? There's decks that care about your artifact count, right? I wonder if Hammer wants like one of these. Pioneer, yeah. It could show up in some Pioneer decks. And then again, like, artifact aggro decks are gonna want it. It seems like, obviously, standard playable to me, but again, like, who knows if the home is there. Probably people that follow standard closer than I do. And yeah, fine limited card. Saga fetchable? No, Saga's gotta be 0 or 1. You can't get single white cards. Yep, still busted and limited for sure. For sure. Skrelv's Hive, 1 in white. This is kind of fun. I've got little babies. Little babies puttering around. Enchantment, the being of your upkeep. This is a rare. You lose 1 life and create a 1/1 might artifact creature with token with toxic 1, and this creature can't block. Corrupted as long as an opponent has 3 or more poison counters. Creatures you control with toxic have lifelink. We got another Shitter Blossom. Yeah, every once in a while, Wizards gives us a new Shitter Blossom. They never live up to the original. This one's sweet though. Certainly limited playable. Definitely something you can build around. Make the mites more real. Pump effects and stuff. Looks better than the Amass one from War. Yeah. So the Amass one in War, it did have some, like, sacrifice effects in that standard format. Like, Sacrifice was a deck. So it did see, like, a little bit of constructed play. Even though this card is, like, a little bit better power level-wise, it could see, like, less constructed play if it doesn't have a home, right? The mite's not blocking. Could be awkward. You would happily first pick a Hive? Yeah. Well, again, in Limited, you can build around it. And Corrupted is the set mechanic. And Lifelink's a great limited mechanic. My concerns were mostly about it for constructed play. Does spit out a lot of artifacts, yeah. Pairs nicely with the lifelinker, huh? The 2/1 that gets a 1/1 counter, or not a 1/1 counter, but +1/+1 every time an artifact comes into play. It also has lifelink. Yeah, the fact that it offsets its own life loss is kind of nutty. It might be way better to have multiple of this card down than multiple Bitter Blossoms. Just playing much different, much more aggressive. Yeah, we'll see. Are all the teeth unsettling? No, they're cute. They're cute teeth. Swooping Lookout, 1 white for 1/2. Phyrexian Construct Flying Vigilance. Yeah, I mean, we've played this shit before, right? We've played this in Standard. In Limited, I think you want to be able to buff it up a little bit. Buff up your Hover Mirror. Maybe you play it in an Equipment deck or an Artifact Matters deck. You're not stoked about it, though. Suntail Hawk, eat your heart out. Yeah. There's like that Rust Bird, right? That was like a 1/2 first strike or something. Vigilance is better than first strike on a 1 mana 1/2 flyer. Good with the sword. Does seem good with the sword. The Vigilance aspect means that it gets to like plink in and then also block your opponent's mites. It's kind of cool. Yeah, Rustwing Falcon, I think that was it. Saw some Standard play. Sometimes it doesn't matter how bad your 1-drop looks. Just being like a one-drop flyer is good enough for whatever white deck. Yeah, Queer Sheeted Girl. It does fit those themes. Alright, Vanishing to Eternity, 2 and a white instant. Spell costs 3 more to cast if it targets a creature. Exile target non-land permanent. Okay. So this card's sweet. It's at its best. Not hitting creatures. But it's still sweet. So you got an efficiently costed Disenchant. In a lot of formats, Disenchants are main deckable. I think this is gonna be one of those, right? There's lots of like random artifacts and stuff floating around. And then if you absolutely need to kill a creature, this can do that. So that's pretty sweet. The Exile Clause at common is really nice to see. Because it answers shit like, you know, these fucking unkillable mythic garbage things that you really need to get off the board because they give you that static value. Hey, Anderson and Claire, thanks for the 2 months there, and you can't wait to draft. Me either. I'm starting to get hyped. I'm starting to get excited about this set now that I'm digging in. That one's not constructed playable? No. No, that one was not constructed playable. Yeah, I usually only mention constructed if it's interesting, huh? People used to, with my set reviews, they used to get like really confused whether I was discussing things for limited or constructed. I think I've done enough of them though. Now people can kind of get it. Very intuitive, common sense. Some cards are just very obviously there for limited, and then like rares and mythics are usually designed with constructed in mind. Veil of Assimilation, 1 and a white artifact. Do a whole constructed review where there's like 3 interesting constructed cards, and you're just giving everything else zeros. You're doing the 5-star rating. Just do the whole set like that. People do that shit. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. Anyway, Veil of Assimilation, 1 and a white artifact. Whenever Veil of Assimilation or another artifact enters the battlefield under your control, target creature you control gets +1/+1 and gains Vigilance until end of turn. Just until end of turn? Seems bad. Does this look bad to everybody else? Do a review where I give every card 5 stars for trying its best. Yeah. Mites are artifacts? Mites are artifacts. What is this until end of turn? A real bad anthem? Yeah, it's not even an anthem, right? You're just targeting a creature. Is it okay with the Shitter Blossom? I think that's thinking about like it in the absolute best case possible is you have this rare and then like maybe it becomes okay, but even then, like what if you don't draw your stupid rare? You still have to draw this card sometimes, right? And then it just sucks. You're just adding like situational cards into your deck. It's not like that Splinter Twin, right? It's not like this plus the Shitter Blossom. Just Snap wins the game. I think you just don't play this card. Oh, damn. We just got a read from Howling Giant Official. Hell yeah. Yeah, Howling Giant has been, music streams. They got a new, setup for doing music streams. Very much worth following. Howling Giant, notable. This is an opportune moment. Notable here in our stream, because they did make this banger. They're also going on tour. They're going on tour with Elder. I just picked up my tickets for them. Let's fucking bring that tour up, actually. Yeah, they're touring with Elder, and Ruby the Hatchet. Ruby the Hatchet I haven't listened to much, but Elder is fucking great, also great live. I've seen Elder and Howling Giant live. They're both fucking great. Play them both on stream a shitload. Elder's a little bit more proggy. Both great bands. Excellent fucking tour. I picked up tickets for the Milwaukee stop. I'm excited. Excited that there's a show in Milwaukee that's not being played at the fucking rave. Oh, man. Anyway, it should be awesome. It should be a good time. Sick-ass fucking band. What are these forced ads on you? It's not a forced ad. Howling Giant is not paying me for plugging them. Well, it's because I want to. It's because they're fucking sweet. They also did my my intro for YouTube pro bono, which was super cool on their part. Oh yeah, they've been touring like crazy lately, Simulamo. It seems like Howling Giant is just like always on tour, always doing something. My check's in the mail? Yeah! Hell yeah, Dansman. Hit it up. Sponsored. Hashtag paid sponsor. Alright. Back to these Magic cards. We're finishing up the white section, and then I'm going to take a break. Refill my soda. White Sun's Twilight. XY White Sorcery. You gain X life, create X/1/1 colorless Phyrexian Might artifact, treat your tokens with Toxic 1, and this creature can't block. If X is 5 or more, destroy all other creatures. Oh, this card rules, huh? Just a new Martial Coup. Is this better than Martial Coup? I mean, I know that the Mites can't block, but just stapling you gain X life to a sweeper, and then having some win conditions left around sounds really strong. A lot of poison very quickly. Yeah, right? I think this is a constructed card. Not a like pioneer or modern constructed card, but I wouldn't be surprised if this saw standard play, like a lot of it. Bonkers, yeah, right? Crazy good and limited. White Sun's Twilight? Absolutely. Nutty and limited. Nutty and limited, for sure. Worse than Martial Coup if X is less than 5. Yeah, if you play Martial Coup with X is less than 5, you're like sad though, right? Well, you never wanted to do that shit anyway. Alright, Zealot's Conviction. 1 white, enchantment aura. Flash, enchanted creature. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1. Corrupted. As long as an opponent has 3 or more poison counters, it gets an additional +1/+1 and has first strike. It doesn't like fucking fall off or anything at end of turn. That's probably not bad, huh? I'm probably gonna blow out some limited. Could be an uncommon. Conviction? Yeah, I think it being common is fine, though. Like, how many of these do you want to put in a deck, right? A great draft pick. Yeah. I'm a little iffy on, like, pump spells in general, but it's certainly not bad. Do you want to play White Sun's Twilight instead of Farewell in Standard? So White Sun's, I mean, Farewell is really good. The thing about White Sun's Twilight is that it's stabilizing your life total, right? It's not just that it's leaving a bunch of mites around afterwards, it's that also that, like, now your opponent can't burn you out or what have you. So you might want to do a mix. You might want to do a mix of White Suns and Farewells. Or if you're playing a bunch of permanents, if you're doing permanent-based control, artifact ramp spells, planeswalkers, that sort of thing, then White Suns might just play better anyway. Right? Anyway, we've reached the end of White.